Hi there. In this video, I'll show you how to export specific artboards from Illustrator. Here's a sample scenario for context. Imagine you had to create business cards for a company with a number of staff members. Typically, they are hiring, promoting, or letting go of some of their employees. So, over time, you have to update the business cards, create new ones, and maybe send them out for print depending on your arrangement. The same can apply to ID cards and other kinds of personalized stationery. Typically, we will export them as a single PDF file containing all the personalized cards. But what if they only need to update or print cards for just one or two of their staff members? It wouldn't make sense to send a single PDF with all the cards for all 20 of their employees. Sure, you could create a new Illustrator document for each person, but I hope you cringe at how inefficient that would be. So, I'll show you a more excellent way. Here, we have a two-sided business card design for a fictional company. The first artboard contains the front and the others hold the reverse side of the card with respective employee details. We also have them neatly arranged in their respective layers as good practice. But our main area of concern is with the artboards. To see the list of artboards in the document, go to Window, Artboards. I'll just drag and dock it here on the right side of the screen. As a side note, artboards in Illustrator are what you might know as pages. The size of your artboard determines the size of the final exported document. So, when you save your document, say to PDF or export to standard JPEG for images, only the items in the artboards will be visible in the final export, especially if you have Use Artboards checked. So, among other things, artboards are important like that. The artboard panel functions pretty much like the layers panel, allowing you to organize, rename, or delete artboards. By default, they are named Artboard 1, Artboard 2 to 10, or however many artboards you have in your document. But these names can be changed. They are ordered too. So don't let the names confuse you. They are there for identification purposes, just like the layers. What we want to look out for are the index numbers on the left column. These numbers will be useful when we need to tell Illustrator which artboards to export. Now, what if we need to export the cards for their latest employees? In this case, let's say that's Nadia Wilson to Daniel Martinez. We will need to export the front of the card and the reverse side containing the details of the employees. First, we'll go to the Artboards panel and take note of the artboards we wish to save. In this case, we want the first artboard for the front, then the artboards for Nadia down to Daniel. That's artboard 1 and artboard 6 to 10. So we need to find a way to save a PDF with the artboards we want and exclude the artboards we don't need. I hope this is pretty clear so far. To do that, we'll go to File, Save As, and in the dialog box, input the name of the file. Then set the file format to PDF. You should notice that the Use Artboards option is grayed out, but on closer inspection, it's actually active by default. This is because the PDF format requires artboards to display the pages, so they don't give you the option to disable it, which is all well and good. Now, if we go directly to click Save, we will get the complete document with all the pages included, but that's not what we want. So, before clicking the Save button, we'll focus on the Range field here. This is where you need to pay close attention, very important. Click to activate the Range option. This field allows you to specify the range of artboards you wish to include in the final document. You see, by default, it says 1 to 10, which means it will include from the first through the last artboard in the document. But there are other ways to manipulate this entry. For 1, we can of course specify another range like from 1 to 7 or 3 to 8, whatever. It will just include the artboards from the specific range. But then it gets more interesting. You can also specify different respective ranges. So if we need to include the first 4 and the last 3 artboards in the document, for example, we can input their range numbers. We type in 1 to 4, 7 to 9. This will tell Illustrator to create a PDF document containing, you guessed it, artboards 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, and 9. If you think that's cool, let's take it up another notch. You can also mention specific artboards that you wish to include just by separating their index numbers with a comma. So, say the artboards of interest are the 1st, 5th, 8th, and 10th. We simply input 1, 5, 8, 10. Finally, it's possible to specify single artboards with a range of artboards like this: 1, 2, 5 to 10. This is the technique we will use for our example. In this case, we will type 1 for the front of the card, 6 to 10 to specify the range of artboards for the new employees. Then we'll click Save. This will open the Save Adobe PDF dialog box. Just make sure it is set to Illustrator default and it should be fine. Now, when you open the saved PDF file, you will notice that the only visible pages in this file are from the artboards we specified. But here's an Easter egg. If you take a look at the PDF file in Windows Explorer, you'll see that its file size isn't so different from that of the original Illustrator document. This gives us a clue that there's more to this file than meets the eye. So let's try opening up this file in Illustrator. Straight away, you can see that all the other artboards are still very much intact. Layer names too. It's basically a native Illustrator file, even though as a PDF we have only the specified files displayed. Now, this can be an added advantage knowing that every PDF file you save still contains the original document, so you have that non-destructive advantage. But in situations where the file size is a concern, especially for larger documents, we still need to ensure that only the specified artboards are saved within the PDF file. So I'll show you how to control that. Remember when we were at the Adobe PDF dialog box? Here we have an option to preserve Illustrator editing capabilities. As the name implies, it allows us to either preserve the properties of the file that make it possible for us to go back in and edit in Illustrator, or we can choose to strip off most of the editing options and consolidate the file. So this time, let's uncheck the option and save. Now in Windows Explorer, the file size is much smaller. And when we open it up in Illustrator, we get presented with a different set of options. I'll just set the appropriate options and load the document anyway. This time, we only have the artboards we specified, and it's all in a single layer, kind of like it's all been reset. As you can see, most of the original file properties have been stripped away, and what we see is Illustrator simply reading this file like any other PDF document. The range syntax can also be applied in the export dialog box to export artboards to JPEG, PNG, or any other supported formats. I hope these tips help you work faster and smarter. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like, share and subscribe to get more useful tips. I do so love reading your comments below, so don't hesitate to drop me a line if you have any questions. Until next time, try something new every day.